Amid the roar and howl of the sea dragon beneath him, Wang Lin left the Earth Gate, which was shrouded in a dust storm. Before coming here, he never imagined he would encounter both him and her in this place. C2, Qing Shui, Su Ligua, Lu Jinbiao, and many other old friends from back then. I wonder where they are now. Are they also looking up at this sky? Wang Lin sat cross-legged atop the sea dragon's head, gazing at the vast sky, a trace of melancholy in his eyes. I wonder if C2 is living the life of the prince he always wanted. I don't know where senior brother Qing Shui is. Su Ligua, cunning and changeable, I wonder how he's doing. Lu Jinbiao, a self-taught deceiver, is he still contemplating? And then, Li Qianmei. After meeting a reincarnated old friend on the immortal astral continent, memories began to surge in Wang Lin's heart. As he advanced, the vivid faces from the past flashed before his eyes. The sea dragon sped forward under Wang Lin's divine sense, heading toward another powerful sect on this continent, the Mengtu sect. Named after the Meng Earth continent, it was on par with the Earth Gate sect. With Wang Lin's heavenly venerable cultivation and the sea dragon's golden venerable strength, the journey to the Mengtu sect was smooth. The sect's ancestor, with great respect, offered a map jade slip, afraid of displeasing Wang Lin. Within the Mengtu sect, Wang Lin spread out his divine sense. Although he knew it was unlikely, he still searched for any old acquaintances from back then. But he found nothing. With a sigh and well wishes for Zhou Yi and Qing Shuang, Wang Lin sat atop the sea dragon and left Dreamland Continent, heading towards Tian Continent in Eastern Province. In Eastern Province, there were only a handful of heavenly venerable cultivators, not many to be found. In Tian Continent, there was a sect called Heavenly Gate, one of the 9 sects and 13 schools. Within Heavenly Gate, there was a heavenly venerable ancestor, rumored to be a peer of Luo Yunhai. However, his cultivation had stagnated at the heavenly venerable level. He had once followed the twin grand heavenly venerables, but later left quietly due to some unforeseen circumstances. For tens of thousands of years, he had not left the Heavenly Gate. The most powerful sect in Tian Continent was Heavenly Gate, and among the 9 sects and 13 schools, only this sect could be considered the true hegemon in Tian Continent. Heavenly Gate was different from other sections. It didn't have just one main gate, but instead had 19 branch sects spread throughout the entire Tian Continent, controlling all the resources on the continent. At this moment, a gigantic sea dragon sped through the skies and earth, Wang Lin atop its head, calmly gazing at the land below. The reason this continent was called Tian Continent was because of the low-hanging clouds and mist, which were supposed to be high in the sky, but due to some strange phenomenon, they appeared as if one could touch them from the ground. As a result, the entire Tian Continent seemed like an immortal realm, constantly enveloped in ethereal clouds and mist. Within Tian Continent, there were countless mountain ranges, with the highest peak called Tianfeng, or Heavenly Peak. The peak was shrouded in swirling white clouds, and from a distance, the mountain was barely visible, hidden in the mist, creating a unique and mysterious scene. This day, the sea dragon's form materialized outside Heavenly Peak in a swirl of ripples. It spiraled in the sky, its massive eyes locking onto the mountain below. At that moment, its golden venerable strength was fully unleashed, enveloping the surroundings. On top of the sea dragon, Wang Lin, dressed in white, appeared like an immortal amidst the white clouds. He stepped forward into the empty space, walking across the endless clouds towards the peak of Heavenly Peak. At the very summit of the peak, amidst the snow-covered landscape, Wang Lin stood with his hands behind his back, allowing the howling winds to blow through his white hair. Behind him, the sea dragon arrived suddenly, circling and raising its head, its cold gaze sweeping the surroundings. I am Wang Lin. I request an audience with the Heavenly Gate ancestor at Heavenly Peak. With his divine sense extending outward, Wang Lin's voice, like the roar of 10,000 thunderclaps, spread rapidly from his location, turning into real thunderous sounds that echoed through the skies, quickly covering all directions and spreading across half of Tian Continent. Throughout Tian Continent, all the sects affiliated with Heavenly Gate and its branches trembled at the sound of this divine command, hearing this overwhelming presence that seemed to be the will of the heavens. Even the clouds and mist of Tian continent seemed to tremble and collapse, rapidly retreating in response to the spread of Wang Lin's divine sense, tearing apart the mist within millions of miles around him. In the main sect of Heavenly Gate, located amidst a continuous mountain range, at the moment Wang Lin's divine sense swept through, a powerful aura suddenly erupted, shaking the very heavens and earth. The clouds and mist churned as a white-haired elder, dressed in coarse linen, stepped out from within Heavenly Gate. He stood there, as if the very world was trembling beneath his feet. His eyes gleamed with a sharp light as he looked toward the distant heavenly peak. His gaze flickered, and with a wave of his sleeve, he vanished without a trace. At the moment of his appearance, he was already atop the heavenly peak. Amidst the rippling distortion, the old man's figure shifted, not even sparing a glance at the massive sea dragon on the mountain, instead looking directly at Wang Lin with a gaze full of authority. Between them lay a vast expanse of void, and the instant the old man's gaze swept over, Wang Lin raised his head, his golden eyes flashing, meeting the old man's gaze for the first time. It seemed silent, but in reality, within Wang Lin's mind, a rumbling sound echoed. The old man's gaze felt like countless needles, piercing through Wang Lin's eyes, as though trying to penetrate his body. Wang Lin's body trembled, and the golden light in his eyes intensified. The white-haired old man also shook, sensing that Wang Lin's gaze carried a golden sword within it. This sword radiated immense immortal power and was as sharp as ice, even carrying a suppressive force akin to heavenly might. After reaching his mind, it felt as if the golden sword was whistling through the air, directly stabbing into his body. "Friend, you have called me here. What is it that you seek?" The old man withdrew his gaze, and his expression toward Wang Lin grew solemn. "I've just stepped into the heavenly venerable ranks and wish to seek your guidance. Nothing more," Wang Lin said politely. He had no enmity with the heavenly gate and cupped his fists toward the white-haired elder. Hearing this, the old man immediately smiled, and a battle intent surged in his eyes. Among the heavenly venerables, deathly combat was rare, but casual sparring did occur. However, due to the limited number of heavenly venerables within the immortal clan, any opportunity to battle was seldom passed up, especially when such a sparring match could benefit both sides. Very well. The old man took a step forward, raising his right hand. He suddenly swung his sleeve at Wang Lin atop the heavenly peak. In an instant, all the white snow on the peak trembled and flew into the air, transforming into a snowstorm rushing toward Wang Lin from all directions. Within the snowstorm were 9 divine abilities, howling with a touch of violence, and soon engulfed Wang Lin's figure. With a long laugh, Wang Lin raised his right hand and suddenly punched forward. This punch also contained 9 divine abilities, the same 9 soul-binding seals that Wang Lin had used before. A thunderous boom erupted, shaking the heavens and the earth. The snowstorm trembled, and in an instant, it collapsed, enveloping everything around them. The booming sound continued to echo in the area, with Wang Lin's laughter blending in, shaking the heavens. Several hours later, within the endless snowflakes, Wang Lin's body was sent flying backward. At several thousand feet away, his right foot stomped on the ground, steadying himself. "Your cultivation is extraordinary. This battle has benefited me greatly. Thank you," Wang Lin said. At the same time, the white-haired old man also retreated several thousand feet in the opposite direction before steadying himself. "Just stepping into the heavenly venerable ranks, and you can already merge 9 divine abilities into every punch and kick. You're still young. Old man admires you." The two of them cupped their fists at each other, their faces filled with smiles. "Shall we continue?" "Let's continue." Their bodies flashed, and they rapidly approached from 2 directions. The thunderous boom made even the sea dragon shudder, retreating in fear. Watching the 2 terrifying figures through the snowflakes, the sea dragon blinked and moved back again. The battle lasted for 7 days. Wang Lin and the white-haired old man fought 23 times. After a few rounds, they would separate and sit cross-legged to recover their cultivation, while reflecting on their experiences. They also exchanged words. Such battles between heavenly venerables, not involving enmity, were excellent for cultivation insights. "Wang Dao friend, I see you've been holding back. This battle has been thrilling. Our combat powers are quite similar. How about we let go of our restraints and fight with all our might? After the 23rd battle, the white-haired old man, sitting cross-legged in the distance, smiled and spoke. All right, Wang Lin stood up, and in a flash, his body revealed the 5 elements origin true body. With just a single avatar, Wang Lin's combat power sword, now able to battle against a heavenly venerable who had integrated 18 divine abilities. Primordial origin avatar, and not an ordinary one, but one fused from multiple origins. The old man's eyes shrank as he gazed at Wang Lin's avatar. The two of them struck simultaneously. The white-haired old man no longer held back, unleashing the power of a heavenly venerable with 17 divine abilities. The thunderous rumbling reverberated, and in an instant, 3 days passed. After these 3 days, Wang Lin laughed heartily, stepping onto the sea dragon's back and disappearing into the distance. Morong Dao friend, thank you. As the snowflakes fell, the white-haired old man stepped out, watching Wang Lin's departing figure, his expression heavy. He hasn't used his full strength yet. With his cultivation, I wonder how many layers of the heavenly venerable Nirvana grounds he can break through. The old man muttered to himself, watching until Wang Lin disappeared, before turning and disappearing in a flash. My immortal clan has gained a new heavenly venerable cultivator. This must be reported to the grand heavenly venerable. After 10 days of combat, the old man had gained many insights himself. 50 years may be a lifetime in the mortal world, but for cultivators, it is often just a brief period of closed-door cultivation. However, during these 50 years, a legend emerged on the immortal clan continent. This legend spread between the eastern and southern provinces. It spoke of a heavenly venerable cultivator, a man clad in white, with white hair, accompanied by a golden venerable sea dragon. He journeyed across more than 30 islands within the 2 provinces, seeking a battle with other heavenly venerables. There were nearly 100 heavenly venerables across the 2 provinces, including those who had not been recruited by the great heavenly venerables and those who had secluded themselves for years. The number was especially large in the southern province, where the count of heavenly venerables far surpassed that of the eastern province. After all, the eastern province, once ranked second among the 5 provinces of the immortal clan, gradually became the one with the fewest heavenly venerables, especially after the souls of the twin grand heavenly venerables split once again. This white-clad heavenly venerable challenged every other heavenly venerable cultivator, and each battle, each thunderous clash, was known to nearly every sect in both provinces. In Nian province, he battled the heavenly venerable ancestor of the Nian sect. In Hailuo province, he fought the heavenly venerable ancestor of the Dao'd sect. In Juma province, he faced the heavenly venerable ancestor of the demonic Heaven Path sect. In Linglong province, he challenged Hangtao heavenly venerable, a disciple of Dao E grand heavenly venerable. In Shanliang province, he fought against Chifeng heavenly venerable, a disciple of the great heavenly venerable Wufeng. With each battle, the world trembled, and a legend was born, creating a name that spread far and wide. The white-haired heavenly venerable. The name Wang Lin was known to few, and even fewer knew the details of his legend. Thus, based on the scattered clues and his distinctive white hair, he became known as the white-haired heavenly venerable among all cultivators. In the rumors of the nearly 100 challenges this white-haired heavenly venerable faced, only about 20 ended in failure, while the rest were victories. His incredible record made him famous far and wide, even reaching the northern and western provinces, and even the central plains. Almost every heavenly venerable of the immortal clan had heard of a white-haired heavenly venerable cultivator with unmatched combat prowess. The legend also spoke of his final battle in the southern province's Shanhai province, where he fought against Haizi heavenly venerable. After losing that battle, he vanished without a trace for several years. The story goes that the white-haired heavenly venerable fought Haizi heavenly venerable above the mountains and seas. The sea collapsed, and the sky seemed on the verge of collapsing. I was at the edge of the mountains and seas, and I saw the monstrous waves crashing. In the distance, I could even make out the figure of the white-haired heavenly venerable. An old man in Taoist robes spoke slowly in a tavern that served cultivators. He had a group of 4 or 5 cultivators listening intently. Unfortunately, the white-haired Heavenly Venerable lost that battle. The old man sighed repeatedly, as if he was deeply familiar with him, lamenting the defeat. Heisey Heavenly Venerable is said to be very close to the legendary Transcendent Heavenly Venerable. Even if the white-haired Heavenly Venerable were in existence of the highest level, he would still have lost against Heisey Heavenly Venerable. A young cultivator beside him sneered. As we all know, in the southern province, due to the presence of Tao E Grand Heavenly Venerable, there are many Heavenly Venerables. Furthermore, Tao E Grand Heavenly Venerable never forces any Heavenly Venerables to join his faction. But every Heavenly Venerable in the southern province, regardless of whether they are part of Tao E Grand Heavenly Venerable's sect, can attend Tao E sect's teachings every 100 years. Many Heavenly Venerables originally from the eastern province have come to our southern province. I believe the reason the white-haired Heavenly Venerable has been challenging so many people over the years is to catch the attention of Tao E Grand Heavenly Venerable and eventually join his ranks. A middle-aged man holding a fan smiled and spoke. How do you know that Tao E Grand Heavenly Venerable hasn't already sought out the white-haired Heavenly Venerable? I heard that over 50 years ago, Tao E Grand Heavenly Venerable did extend an invitation to the white-haired Heavenly Venerable, but it was rejected, said a black-robed elder who had remained silent until now. He cast a glance at the others before slowly speaking. Oh, that's a new piece of information. The cultivators in the tavern were startled. The tavern wasn't large and was specifically for cultivators. It didn't serve food, only the famous fragrant wine, which was popular among the cultivators in the area. Every day, only a limited amount was sold. As the conversation continued, a young man dressed in white sat quietly in the corner of the tavern, drinking from a cup of wine while gazing out at the sky. He had white hair, but in this tavern, there were several other cultivators with white hair as well. As the legend of the white-haired Heavenly Venerable grew, the number of cultivators with white hair seemed to increase. Hearing the conversation around him, Wang Lin lowered his cup and frowned. He stared at the sky, sinking into silence. Over the past 50 years, he had battled numerous Heavenly Venerables, gaining fame, but also learning from each battle. He grew more familiar with the divine abilities of the Heavenly Venerables, and he strived to become stronger. 3 years ago, he arrived at the Shanghai continent and fought against the strongest figure in this region, the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable. In that battle, Wang Lin was defeated. He used all of his doppelgangers, but still lost. The Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable has already integrated 70 divine abilities into a single finger. I'm no match for him unless I wear the soul armor. But if I wear the soul armor, it won't serve its purpose of tempering me, Wang Lin said, taking a sip from his cup and finishing the wine in one gulp. In 50 years, after both of my doppelgangers appear, I will be able to compress the 9 divine abilities I can currently use into a near threefold power. The result will be comparable to 36 divine abilities. Besides battling repeatedly, I've also been searching for the 2 sources of origin, metal and wood. Once I acquire them, I will have a true form capable of fully merging the 5 elements avatar. My true body will be able to integrate 18 divine abilities into one punch. Over time, I can compress this even further, achieving power comparable to 72 divine abilities. At that point, I can challenge the Ocean Child again. The Red Peak Heavenly Venerable once said that at the very bottom of Shanghai, there is a mountain sea tree. The entire Shanghai continent is held up by this giant tree. In fact, the seal on the Shanghai continent is the soul of this very tree. This tree is incredibly powerful. It was sealed by the immortal progenitor, and even the immortal progenitor was injured in the process. But now, due to the passing of time, the mountain sea tree's soul has already become a dead soul, leaving only the trunk behind. However, within this trunk is enough wood origin power. If I can obtain it, it will allow me to condense the wood origin while transforming into my true form. Wang Lin thought deeply as he spoke, the gleam in his eyes showing contemplation. After my battle with the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable, I've been observing this Shanghai continent, and it seems that what the Red Peak Heavenly Venerable said is mostly true. In this case, I might have no choice but to use the soul armor to defeat the Ocean Child's guard, enter the mountain sea tree, and absorb its wood origin power. Wang Lin's eyes showed determination as he placed his cup down, leaving behind some spirit stones, and walked out of the tavern. The city, built by cultivators, was teeming with people. In addition to various shops, there were also some private stalls selling treasures they had acquired. Wang Lin walked through the city, and with a slight sway of his body, he vanished without a trace. When he reappeared, he was high in the sky, far away, about to speed off. Suddenly, his expression changed, and he turned to look behind him. Behind him, the space twisted, and a tall figure materialized. The figure stood about 10 zhang tall, wearing a purple robe that enveloped his entire body. His face was covered by a golden mask, which exuded an overwhelming pressure. As the figure appeared, the pressure radiated outward, causing the surrounding void to ripple with waves. From the ground below, it looked as though the area around Wang Lin and the masked figure had turned into a lake, with ripples spreading out from them. So it's the Red Peak Heavenly Venerable under the command of Great Heavenly Venerable Wufeng. Wang Lin spoke slowly. Taoist Wang, it's been years. I wonder how your thoughts have changed. The golden-masked cultivator spoke with a smile, looking at Wang Lin. Back when Wang Lin fought the Red Peak Heavenly Venerable, their strength was evenly matched. Without wearing the soul armor, they were at a standstill. Afterward, the Red Peak Heavenly Venerable found Wang Lin and conveyed a message from the Great Heavenly Venerable Wufeng. He wanted to recruit Wang Lin into his ranks. This was the second Grand Heavenly Venerable to show interest in recruiting Wang Lin, after Dao Yi Grand Heavenly Venerable. Wang Lin had heard of Great Heavenly Venerable Wufeng over the years. As the demon sect's Heavenly Venerable ancestor had said, he was incredibly transcendent and rarely paid attention to other Heavenly Venerable cultivators. Only those who had transcended to the level of transcendent Heavenly Venerables were seen as worthy of his attention. But this didn't mean there weren't any Heavenly Venerables under his command. Every Heavenly Venerable under his banner was an exceptional talent. For example, the Red Peak Heavenly Venerable. After their battle, Wang Lin clearly sensed that this person, like himself, was holding back. Back then, when the Red Peak Heavenly Venerable first conveyed the message from Great Heavenly Venerable Wufeng, the Grand Heavenly Venerable didn't come in person, nor did he even send his divine thought avatar. He clearly thought that with my current battle strength, I was only worthy of a message. In comparison, Dao Yi Grand Heavenly Venerable was far more considerate. Though perhaps Dao Yi Grand Heavenly Venerable only appeared after seeing my battle power while wearing the soul armor, Wang Lin thought for a moment, then cupped his hands toward the Red Peak Heavenly Venerable. Red Peak Taoist, this matter requires further consideration. I haven't made up my mind yet. The Red Peak Heavenly Venerable wasn't surprised by Wang Lin's polite refusal. Instead, he looked slightly regretful and smiled at Wang Lin. Taoist Wang, as Heavenly Venerables, we hold an extremely high status within the Immortal clan. If a Grand Heavenly Venerable wants to recruit someone, they must personally make an appearance. I understand this. Before I came, Great Heavenly Venerable Wufeng instructed that if you manage to break through the 9th layer of the Heavenly Venerable Ascension, he will personally come, not just his divine thought avatar. Fellow Taoist Wang, if you have time, I hope you'll venture into the Heavenly Venerable Nirvana grounds. If you can pass through all 9 layers, I believe any one of the 5 Grand Heavenly Venerables will spare no effort to recruit you. Having spoken, Heavenly Venerable Chiefing clasped his fist toward Wang Lin. His figure gradually blurred and slowly faded away into nothingness. Wang Lin floated silently in midair. After a long while, he lifted his head to gaze at the heavens. The Heavenly Venerable Nirvana grounds. Dao Yi Grand Heavenly Venerable once said that if I could pass the 9 layers, he would return. Now this Great Heavenly Venerable Wufeng says the same. Could it be that within these 9 layers lies some profound mystery? For more than 50 years, Wang Lin had tested the method of entering the Heavenly Venerable Nirvana grounds many times, yet he had never gone. Now, after a moment of silence, his eyes flashed. I should take a look. Across the entire Shanghai province, the domain of mountains and seas occupied nearly 70%, with the remaining 30% being land that encircled the vast waters. At this moment, on the northern coast of the mountains and seas, amidst a range of peaks, Wang Lin stood atop one mountain, his gaze calm as he looked over the endless sea. This was the closest point to the seabed where the mountain sea tree resided. Yet Wang Lin did not immediately descend into the seas again. Instead, his body flickered, and he vanished from the mountaintop, reappearing within the mountain itself, inside a cave abode he had carved out. He had lived in this abode for 3 years. Over that time, he had set down layer upon layer of restrictions, providing a measure of protection. Within the cave abode, a faint blue mist lingered, surrounding a shrunken sea dragon weapon that floated within the haze. Sitting cross-legged, Wang Lin slowly closed his eyes. His hands rested on his knees, shifting through a series of intricate seals he had long since verified through repeated attempts. Before claiming the mountain sea tree, I should see for myself what mysteries the heavenly venerable Nirvana grounds conceal. Still seated, Wang Lin followed the method he had learned over the past 50 years. His divine sense seeped out of his body, gathering above his crown, compressing tighter and tighter until it formed a brilliant light. This was the light of divine sense. It shone briefly at his crown before suddenly flaring upward, shooting into the sky with indescribable speed. It pierced through the cave abode, through the mountain itself, and soared straight into the heavens. From the outside, no one could see or sense it, for the special seals Wang Lin had formed concealed all fluctuations, ensuring that heavenly venerable cultivators entering the Nirvana grounds remained undetected. It was said these seals had been passed down from the immortal progenitor. Wang Lin's divine sense surged upward, cleaving through the void like a silent, world-piercing sword, striving to pierce the heavens of the immortal aura. At the instant it reached its highest point, a thunderous roar echoed in Wang Lin's mind. To his perception, the heavens themselves seemed to twist into a vast vortex, drawing his divine sense into its depths. His vision blurred. When clarity returned, Wang Lin looked around sharply, his eyes filled with shock. He now stood upon a continent no more than 10,000 miles across. Suspended in the heavens, it was surrounded by howling winds and countless flickering strands of black lightning. Each strand carried a power so dreadful that a mere touch would obliterate body and soul. At the continent's center loomed an immense palace, ancient and dark. Its very presence exuded a savage majesty that inspired instinctive reverence in all who looked upon it. As soon as Wang Lin arrived and began to survey his surroundings, countless divine senses surged from the palace, sweeping across him in an instant. Each was imbued with the oppressive might of a heavenly venerable cultivator. Nearly 200 in total. Wang Lin, the white-haired heavenly venerable. It's him. Among these voices were several heavenly venerables who had fought Wang Lin in the past 50 years. The moment they sensed him, they recognized him at once. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. His eyes swept across the land, and he realized he stood within an ancient teleportation array. Its complexity was staggering. Just a glance gave him the illusion that his divine sense might be drawn into its depths and consumed. After some time, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. Stepping out of the array, he carefully examined himself. His body looked no different from when he had flesh and blood. Were it not for his prior knowledge, even he would have struggled to see that he had entered in the form of divine sense. So this heavenly venerable Nirvana grounds were indeed created by the immortal progenitor. Truly profound. With a flicker of his figure, Wang Lin moved toward the distant ancient palace from which the vast tide of divine senses had come. The closer Wang Lin got to the place, the more shocked he became. The ancient black palace appeared enormous from a distance, but up close, it was even more overwhelming. What was even more astonishing was that as he drew nearer, he realized that above the palace, there were towering palaces floating in the sky. There were a total of 19 palaces, each floating in mid-air, seemingly connected like a long dragon. The palaces at the highest point even seemed to penetrate the heavens, only their blurry outlines visible. From what I've learned over more than 50 years, it's said that this place, the heavenly venerable Nirvana grounds, was once the strongest artifact of the immortal progenitor. It exists in the void and guards the immortal clan, Wang Lin said, gazing at the series of palaces in the sky. Most of them appeared as mere illusions due to their great distance, but the pressure emanating from them was something Wang Lin felt very clearly. As Wang Lin got closer, he saw more clearly that outside the first ancient palace at the center of the continent, over 200 cultivators were seated in a cross-legged position. These cultivators surrounded the palace, maintaining a considerable distance from each other, seemingly unwilling to interact. After Wang Lin arrived, many of them turned their gaze toward him. Some recognized him, and, after making eye contact, smiled and cupped their fists in greeting. Wang Lin returned the salute, cupping his fists one by one, before standing outside the palace. Looking at the colossal structure before him, he felt an overwhelming sense of insignificance. The heavenly venerable Nirvana grounds is quite peculiar. Regardless of where a cultivator is in the Immortal clan's territory, they can be drawn here by their divine sense. That's why it's such a favored place for heavenly venerables. Even if two people are separated by vast distances, they can still meet here. Because of this characteristic, the Nirvana grounds is the best place for heavenly venerables to recognize each other, Wang Lin thought to himself, reflecting on the information he'd gathered over the past 50-plus years. As Wang Lin pondered, suddenly, a dazzling golden light erupted from the seventh palace floating above. In an instant, the light spread out, and all the heavenly venerable cultivators on the continent immediately looked up, their attention fixed on it. Wang Lin did the same, and saw a figure dressed in black flying out from the seventh palace. It was a middle-aged man, his long hair flowing in the wind. A powerful and authoritative aura emanated from his body. In a flash, he darted upward, heading straight for the eighth palace. Bamboo Grove Heavenly Venerable. He's past the seventh layer. To pass the seventh layer, one must have integrated at least 63 divine abilities into their body. I remember the Bamboo Grove Heavenly Venerable didn't have such power back then. 1,000 years, he's clearly gained much from following the grand Heavenly Venerable Judy. The eighth layer isn't too difficult, but the ninth layer is the real challenge. Whoever can pass the ninth layer will immediately attract the attention of all the great heavenly venerables of the Immortal clan. The ninth layer. It's too difficult. Only someone on the verge of becoming a transcendent heavenly venerable could pass it. One more step, and they could become the 49th transcendent heavenly venerable of the Immortal clan. Even the strongest among the transcendent heavenly venerables, the Nether Dao Venerable, stopped at the 16th layer and couldn't go any further. It's said that anyone who passes the 19th layer will have battle powers so formidable that even the great heavenly venerables will hesitate to act against them. As the golden light spread, the more than 200 heavenly venerables around them shared their thoughts through divine sense. While they discussed the Bamboo Grove Heavenly Venerable's actions, a sudden rumble came from the eighth palace. The figure in black, Bamboo Grove Heavenly Venerable, was suddenly ejected, turning into a streak of light and rapidly falling toward the ground, finally landing at the base of the first palace. As he descended, all the divine senses around him vanished, and all eyes were drawn to him. The Bamboo Grove Heavenly Venerable had a dark expression. Without even glancing at the surroundings, he walked forward, passing by Wang Lin and heading to a distant spot. There, he crossed his legs and began meditating with his eyes closed. In the following days, Wang Lin observed the palaces in the sky. Every time golden light flickered, someone would either succeed or fail. Most, like the Bamboo Grove Heavenly Venerable, stopped at the eighth layer, while others failed as early as the second or third layers. Wang Lin didn't rush to challenge the layers, but instead sat cross-legged, observing the other heavenly venerables around him. Over the 3 days, most of them stayed put, though a few came and went. On the fourth day, Wang Lin's eyes gleamed. He stood up from his meditation and began walking toward the first palace. His actions didn't attract much attention, as the first layer was far too simple for the cultivators here. Only those who had fought against Wang Lin before cast a glance at him as he entered the first layer. This white-haired heavenly venerable is attempting the first layer palace, clearly his first time here. I wonder how many layers he can pass. This person is quite strange. His cultivation isn't extraordinary, but his battle power is extremely impressive. I couldn't defeat him. I wonder how many layers he'll clear. Wang Lin. Over the past decades, his name had shaken all of the southern province. It was said that even the Dao Grand Heavenly Venerable once sought to recruit him, but he refused. A dozen gazes followed Wang Lin as he vanished outside the palace gates. The instant he stepped into the first layer of the palace, Wang Lin immediately felt as though heaven and earth shifted before his eyes. What appeared inside was nothing less than a vast starry sky. The starry expanse was infinite, filled with countless stars, each shining with dazzling brilliance, and Wang Lin stood amidst them. A strange whistling suddenly rose from within the stars. Wang Lin's head snapped up, his eyes flashing cold. 9 cultivation stars emerged, each enormous, rumbling as they rushed toward Wang Lin from all directions. The sudden change made his body stagger, but in the next instant, the 9 colossal stars veered, whistling as they once again charged straight at him. Could this be the first layer shaped by a heavenly venerable? Wang Lin's eyes flickered. He stopped dodging, stepped forward in an instant to meet one of the incoming stars, and with his right hand raised, smashed a fist directly at it. Wind summoning. That punch carried the essence of 9 invocations of his wind summoning art. At once, a storm swept across the starry sky, manifesting as a black dragon that collided head-on with the cultivation star. With a thunderous crash, the star exploded into fragments. Even as debris scattered, Wang Lin spun, his leg whipping out to strike a second star. Another deafening boom. His figure blurred like an afterimage as he flickered in front of the third, fourth, until the 9th cultivation star, unleashing punch after punch. The roars shook the heavens. All 9 stars shattered into fragments. Yet, just as the last collapsed, a tremendous force burst forth from the starry void, surging into Wang Lin's body and hurling him backward. He was expelled from the starry realm entirely. His vision swam. When it cleared, he realized his body was no longer under his control. He had been forcibly ejected from the first layer of the palace. He crashed onto the ground outside, sliding back hundreds of feet before regaining his footing. Failed. Wang Lin's head jerked up, his gaze turning contemplative. The palace remained dark, no golden light emanating from it, clear proof that Wang Lin had failed the trial of the first layer. All around, heavenly venerable cultivators had witnessed the scene. Many wore expressions of surprise, especially those who had fought Wang Lin before. They could hardly believe it. To think he couldn't even pass the first layer, this man. Among the heavenly venerables of the Immortal clan, it's rare for anyone to fail here. Yet today we've seen one. Impossible. Wang Lin's combat power is formidable. How could he fail on the very first layer? Now every gaze fixed on Wang Lin. Within those eyes flickered astonishment, disdain, and cold detachment. For all those present, passing the first layer was trivial. To see Wang Lin fail here left many indifferent toward him. Though unspoken, their eyes betrayed that sentiment. In the distance, the bamboo grove heavenly venerable cast Wang Lin a glance, then closed his eyes, paying him no more attention. Wang Lin remained silent. After a moment, his eyes flashed cold as he looked at the towering dark palace. His figure swayed and turned into a rainbow streak, charging once more toward the palace. His action did not go unnoticed. Most of the heavenly venerable cultivators around shook their heads in silence. After failing once, very few succeed the second time. Better to use that effort to cultivate. He clings to hope. Well, perhaps he might scrape through the first layer by luck. Wang Lin's speed was astonishing. In an instant, he rushed back into the palace. His vision blurred, and once again he stood beneath the starry heavens. His expression was calm, unmarked by frustration or shame. He stood there with steady eyes as the strange whistling rose again. The 9 cultivation stars suddenly shifted, their courses altered as though moved by invisible hands, screaming toward him from 9 directions. Wang Lin did not move. His divine sense spread out, enveloping the void. As the 9 stars drew closer, mere hundreds of feet away, the crushing pressure bore down on him. At that very instant, he raised his right hand and clenched it into a fist. 9 invocations of the wind summoning art merged into that one strike. He drove his fist forward into the void. The starry sky roared. To an onlooker, it was as if Wang Lin himself had vanished, replaced by a 9-headed black dragon. Those 9 monstrous heads lunged, crashing into the 9 stars simultaneously. With one earth-shaking explosion, the 9 cultivation stars collapsed at the same instant, shattering into nothingness. At the moment when the 9 cultivation stars collapsed, endless golden light erupted from within them. This golden light swiftly enveloped the starry sky and spread out from the first palace, covering the continent outside the palace. The heavenly venerable cultivators meditating outside were immediately drawn to the golden light. As they looked, their expressions became strange. They saw a white-haired, white-robed figure suddenly burst out from the top of the palace, striding towards the sky at incredible speed, heading for the second palace above. Did he actually succeed? This white-haired heavenly venerable is quite interesting. The first attempt failed, the second was probably a fluke success, but this second palace, no matter how lucky, it wouldn't have any effect. Only strength matters. While the heavenly venerables around them were intrigued by the situation, the second palace in midair suddenly erupted with dazzling golden light again. The golden light from the first palace had not yet dissipated, and the golden light from the second palace rose abruptly, interweaving with it, and almost lighting up the entire continent. This sudden scene stunned some of the proud and indifferent heavenly venerables nearby. He passed the second level so quickly. How long has it been? He failed on the first level, but now he passes the second level in one go. As the second heavenly venerable ascension palace in the sky flashed with golden light, Wang Lin's figure shot upwards without any pause, heading straight for the third palace in the sky. This action immediately caught the attention of more heavenly venerables around. Most of them were cultivators who had reached a deadlock at the third level. At this moment, they focused their attention, uncertain if Wang Lin could succeed after his earlier failure. The third level requires the fusion of 27 divine abilities, and one of those cultivation stars is golden. It's this golden star that's the key. I can fuse 30 divine abilities within my body, but I still failed at the third level, and that's because of that golden cultivation star. One golden star alone is worth all the other stars combined. If this person is going to pass the third level, it's going to be difficult. Among the more than 200 heavenly venerables around, over half raised their heads and gazed intently. As they exchanged speculations, several cultivators cried out in disbelief. With their cries, almost everyone saw that after Wang Lin entered the third palace, it too erupted with dazzling golden light in less than a few breaths. The golden light from the first and second palaces still hadn't faded, and as the third palace flickered with light, the golden light from the three palaces seemed to connect, shimmering together as if a long dragon was slowly growing its entire body. The golden light surged, enveloping the surroundings, making the heavenly venerables below all show a gleam in their eyes. He passed all three levels at once. With this cultivation, how could he have failed the first level earlier? Such incredible speed. To pass the first three levels consecutively at this speed shows how strong he is. The palaces are continuously glowing. I wonder how many more times the light can erupt. In the golden light of the third palace, Wang Lin's body flickered out, looking up at the fourth palace above. Without hesitation, he shot towards the fourth level, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The heavenly venerable ascension grounds require a single strike to destroy all the coming cultivation stars. If you open them consecutively like I did the first time, that counts as a failure. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. The first three levels didn't pose much of a challenge to him. At this moment, his figure vanished into the fourth palace. Down below, even the bamboo grove heavenly venerable opened his eyes, gazing at the fourth level, following Wang Lin's movements. Not only him, but almost everyone was focused on the scene. The fourth level of the heavenly venerable ascension grounds was a dividing line. Of the more than 1,000 heavenly venerables in the immortal clan, fewer than 200 could pass this level, and most of them stopped here. Therefore, Wang Lin's actions at this moment attracted their attention. Anyone who could step into the fourth level among the heavenly venerables was considered strong. Time passed slowly, one breath after another. The flashing golden light from the three palaces, which seemed to be connected by their light, began to dim gradually at the lowest first palace, as if it were about to dissipate. Inside the fourth palace, Wang Lin had already entered, surpassing the time he spent in the third palace. But just as the golden light from the first palace was about to fade completely, suddenly, dozens of heavenly venerables stood up from their meditation, staring at the sky in disbelief. At that moment, the fourth palace exploded with an even more brilliant golden light, surpassing the previous three. This golden light immediately connected all 4 palaces perfectly, forming the shape of a dragon's tail, and when gazing upwards, this scene was nothing short of astonishing. He passed the 4th level. He actually passed the 4th level. Such a cultivator is considered a powerhouse among the heavenly venerables. The bamboo grove heavenly venerable's pupils contracted sharply as he fixed his gaze on the figure stepping out, one deliberate stride at a time, from within the golden radiance of the 4th palace. That figure alone stirred in him a sense of threat. High above, Wang Lin stood within that golden brilliance of the 4th palace. Tilting his head, he looked toward the 5th palace above, his eyes flashing. This 4th layer holds 36 cultivation stars, among which 2 are golden cultivation stars. I've sent out every one of my doppelgangers. Without donning the soul armor, this 4th layer is my limit. But if I put on the soul armor, I wonder how many more layers I could break through. Unfortunately, I must head to the mountains and seas to retrieve the mountain sea tree, so I cannot reveal my full strength now. Once I secure the mountain sea tree, I'll return to challenge it again.